friends. Oh, and look at Starry Hilder's backyard. Yep, I'm out and about today, and I'm going to talk about conferencing. Homesteading conferencing, because if you don't already know this, Starry Hilder, that's me, is going to be talking at the great Appalachia Homesteading Conference with a lot of other awesome homesteaders, people who live off the grid, people who have farms, who have embraced this type of life. You know, one of the most valuable things you can do for yourself if you are interested in making changes and learning more about this type of lifestyle is, number one, get yourself a good knowledge base. I know you get that. Am I preaching to the choir? But this is how Starry sees it. When we decided to go off the grid, we had already been living a pretty unconventional life outside the box. We were unique, so we didn't have to take lessons on many things. We pretty much had it down pat. But some of the things we didn't have down pat was solar. That was a new endeavor for us. And also living in a completely different part of the country. I mean, so our plan was not to just dive into it without really knowing what we were getting into. I mean, we just didn't come out here and just show up and start experimenting. No. Years before we went off the grid, I started researching myself. I bought books on solar. I went online, researched solar, and we actually even bought some Harbor Freight solar panels and an inverter and a charge controller, and we experimented. We experimented to give us a flavor of what to expect. And I tell you, it was good practice. It really was. Now, could we practice changing the way that, this region, how could we expose ourselves to mountains when there were no mountains? What we do is, as soon as we got out here, was talk to many of the locals. Now, just take even winter driving. We thought we were experts at winter driving because I could drive on black ice. I could drive in a snowstorm. I'm from Wisconsin, the Midwest. Yeah, it's a little different when you're in the mountains and everything's straight up and down. And you got drop-offs into the river below. A lot of the locals were telling us about studded tires. They were telling us about chains. They were informing us that winter driving is a serious business here. We took our cue and we learned, listened and learned. That's why when it comes to homesteading, off-gridding, gardening, whatever it is that you friends want to implement into your lifestyle to, become more independent, more self-sustainable, free yourself from all that dependence that we have created in our lives. Where do you start? Well, you start with research. You start with reading. You start with talking to other people who are successfully living the life. And you go to something like a homesteading conference. Yeah, where you can get in one spot valuable information, like right there at your fingertips. I never was a conference person years and years ago, but I remember the first conference that me and Mr. Hilder went to, and it was a taxidermy conference, hunting taxidermy. And, Mr. Hilder is a taxidermist. He's a hunter. And he told me, he says, this is where I can gain valuable information. I can get different ideas from other taxidermists. I can see what they're doing, what they're using, the products. I can pick their brains all in one spot. And I could come home with maybe a book or two, or I could buy something that is going to change the way I do a deer head. I can save money. There's just an endless list. We found the value of conferences early on, and in fact, Mr. Hilder was the one who introduced me to going to conferences. And I was really excited then when Patera contacted me and said, Starry, why don't you come to my conference? And I jumped on the bandwagon because not only do I want to go there and share what I know, but I want to listen and talk to all the other people there. I want to meet other homesteaders and people who are living off the grid, or people who have found successful ways, different ways to garden or to make cheese or to take care of their goats and chickens. I want to pick their brains too. I want to learn, because as soon as we tell ourselves that we know it all, That's a bad move. All know, especially us older people, we get it. Knowledge is valuable. It's priceless. And as soon as we think we know it all, our learning stops, and we really do set ourselves up for failure, because we're never too old to learn. You know, a dog is never too old to learn a new trick, right? And that is the value in conferencing, in going to a place that offers so much in one spot. And then we can see the different techniques, the different ways, because sometimes there's more than one way to skin a cat. Think about it this way. Yes, there is a right way and a wrong way to skin a cat. There's a right way and a wrong way to do many things. We get that. But sometimes there are unique and different ways to skin that cat, to do something. That doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong, it just means it's a different way. So, the great thing about coming to a conference is that you get to hear and listen to people who have skinned the cat differently. Now, we all know homesteading, this lifestyle, requires great preparation. And there is a wrong way and a right way to prepare. You know, water, heat, electricity, on or off grid. You know, I have gone through that with a lot of my videos. But outside of those key things is the uniqueness of a homestead, the individual preferences of a homestead. And this is what is so cool then, because once you master the basics, anything goes. Yeah! Then you can be as individual and different and unique as possible. I mean, look at Starry. I'm living on this mountainside, Miss Dread Girl, and I wear skirts, and I don't always talk the right way, and I do things a little bit different than a lot of other homesteaders. And that's the beauty of it. Not every homestead is going to be exactly the same. And that's why coming to a conference, you can actually get some unique, individual ideas. So technically what I am doing is a great shout out for the Great Appalachia Homesteading Conference. Yeah, it's a shout out. What can I say? I really want you friends who are serious, to think about investing in coming to the conference. It's really going to be worthwhile for anybody. And I've always said this, you don't have to have a homestead in the country. You don't have to be off grid. I see the movement. People are waking up, they're empowering themselves, they want to make changes in their life, even small changes. You know, you live in the city and you started a compost pile in your backyard, or you have an apartment and you started a patio garden. You get the importance of being prepared and making those little changes. And here's another thing to remember when you go to a conference like ours. Sponsors and product. That's what I love about conferencing, because I get to see all the new stuff. I get to actually put my hands on the product, ask questions about the product. We've got some great sponsors, and they're going to be there. So friends, I'm just telling you, make a weekend out of it, but get the tickets, start looking for a hotel room or a place to camp, because there's going to be a good turnout. I mean, already the tickets are on fire, and I really want, this is the thing, I'm so excited about meeting all of you, and I don't know what I'm going to do, because maybe I should have like a hugging booth, because I'm going to be giving out a lot of hugs. And I'm probably going to be doing a lot of crying. I'm sorry. Maybe I should just have a line for hugs and for Kleenex. Because it is really going to be probably for me a very emotional time. And that's a good thing. After all that I have been through, and you friends have supported me along the way, you've been with me through all of it, coming together like this, it's going to be pretty beautiful. All right, the Great Appalachia Homesteading Conference, Patera, me, all the other YouTubers, all the other homesteaders. You know, it's too long a list to even name, but get your tickets. Don't wait. We can't wait to see you in May. God bless.